This is not a story you're meant to hear, but now that you are here, now that you've somehow found this, you have to listen. Because what I'm about to show you will make you question everything you thought was real. And if you stay with me, you'll discover truths no one has dared to whisper before. You're sitting there right now, and this feels like a secret you stumbled onto by accident, a file buried deep inside the dark corners of the internet, something your mind tells you to close immediately, but your heart won't let you look away. This is not just information, it's a confession, a warning carved into the silence that surrounds us, a breath held too long before the storm breaks. You are the only one who has seen this, or at least you were, until now. I want you to imagine the cold, distant giant that is Neptune. It looms at the edge of our solar system like a dark, swirling sentinel, its blue-green atmosphere roiling with storms no human has ever survived to describe. Everyone knows Neptune is untouchable, inhospitable beyond reason, but no one ever truly understands why. Not really. Not until now. The atmosphere of Neptune, it's not just deadly, it kills faster than anything you could imagine. The moment you step into its swirling miasma, your lungs will seize in a cruel betrayal. Your heart will shatter under the weight of invisible poison, and your consciousness will slip away before your mind can even register what's happening. It kills you in under a second, like a silent assassin that doesn't even bother with mercy. This is the terrifying truth hidden behind the majestic beauty of that distant world. But what if I told you this death isn't the end? What if I told you the atmosphere doesn't just kill you? It takes something from you, something deeper than life itself. 2 weeks ago, a man vanished from the observatory in Hawaii. Dr. Eli Marlowe, one of the world's leading astrophysicists, disappeared right after a private live stream. He was supposed to be presenting new data from the Neptune probe, a mission that promised to unravel the mysteries of the planet's atmosphere. But right before the stream cut off, his voice broke as he whispered a name no one had ever heard before. Something not recorded in any known archive, not in any database or celestial map. Something that made the hairs on the back of every technician's neck stand on end. No one else heard it but the viewers. No one except you. It wasn't a code or a scientific term. It was a word drenched in dread, ancient and impossible to place. And moments after he said it, the screen went black. Eli vanished, as if swallowed whole by the cosmos itself. The official explanation was technical difficulties. The media moved on, but you remember, you heard the name. Last night, something else happened. A newborn baby, only days old, spoke the same name clear and urgent over the white noise of a baby monitor. His parents, stunned, scrambled to record it, but when they played it back, all they heard was silence, except for that one haunting syllable repeated in a voice too old to be human. You're probably asking, how can a baby say a name no one's ever spoken? How can a man vanish after whispering it? Why is this name appearing in the strangest places, like a shadow crossing through our reality? I don't have answers. Not yet. But I have evidence. I have a trail of breadcrumbs leading to something so profound it shatters our understanding of life, death, and what lies beyond. And it all centers on Neptune's poisonous embrace. When you stare at the swirling storms of Neptune through a telescope, you don't just see clouds and gas. You see the veil between worlds, a boundary so thin it trembles with secrets. The atmosphere is a gatekeeper, a filter, a cruel judge that separates what is meant to live from what must vanish. The poison isn't just chemical, it's metaphysical. It doesn't merely kill the body, it erases the self, and those who vanish aren't gone. They exist in a state between worlds, trapped in a liminal space where time folds and memories bleed like ink on water. This is why Eli Marlowe's voice echoed in the live stream, why the baby spoke a name beyond our reality. They touched something no human was meant to touch. Look around you. Feel the weight of the air. Think about the names whispered behind closed doors, the words left unspoken in grief, the silences in conversations that stretched too long. There is a connection here, subtle, almost invisible, like a thread pulled taut beneath the surface of existence. Neptune's deadly atmosphere is more than a cosmic hazard. It's a message, and it's reaching out. I've spent nights poring over classified files, intercepted transmissions, and obscure research no one else dared publish. Every lead points back to a single horrifying truth. Neptune is not a planet to explore or conquer. It's a prison, a trap, a place where the boundaries of life, death, and something else blur into one. The name whispered by Eli and that baby. It's a key, a curse, a call. If you hear it, you are marked. The sky is darker tonight. The stars seem to flicker with a strange rhythm, like a heartbeat trying to break through the void. I feel it. Do not seize the pull, the shadow crawling at the edges of my mind, the sensation that something is watching, waiting for the moment to cross over. You might want to turn away, to close your eyes and pretend none of this is real. But you can't. Because, now that you've seen the truth, the atmosphere of Neptune isn't just a deadly gas giant far away in space anymore. It's a living nightmare reaching toward us here on Earth. It's the breath of something ancient and waiting, something that kills in an instant, and then whispers a name you cannot unhear. There's one last thing you need to know. The files I found, the ones I wasn't supposed to open, they end with a single message scrawled in shaky handwriting on a forgotten page. If you ever hear the name spoken, don't respond. Don't speak back, don't even think it. Because the moment you do, you don't just die, you disappear. And whatever waits beyond Neptune's storms will come for you next. And right now I hear it. A voice from the dark, so faint I almost didn't catch it, repeating that impossible name again. It's coming. Are you ready? The voice, that impossible name, lingers in the air, but suddenly it fractures. The clarity of the whisper splinters into static, like a record caught in a groove, a glitch no one can explain. For a moment you think it's your mind playing tricks. The cruel aftershock of staring too long into a darkness no one was meant to see. But then, the silence swells, pressing against your eardrums with unbearable weight. And you realize something else. Maybe nothing you heard was real, or at least not in the way you thought. The files, the live stream, the vanished astrophysicist, the speaking baby. Were they part of the same puzzle, or fragments of a nightmare crafted by a mind unraveling? There's a growing fissure beneath your certainty, a quiet panic that something vital has slipped away in the shuffle of your memories. You reach for your phone, or maybe it's a recorder, trying to capture the whisper again. But the playback is corrupted. The audio warps, time skips, and where the name once hovered like a ghost, there's only silence, punctuated by eerie static that almost sounds like breathing, or whispering. You ask yourself, did I imagine this? Did I want to imagine it? That's when she walks in, a figure both familiar and strange, like a half-remembered face from a dream you never dared finish. Her name is Mara, or was it Mira? You're not sure anymore. She smiles, but there's something off about it. A twitch in the corner of her mouth, a shadow behind her eyes that makes you question if she's here to help or to unravel what little grip you have on reality. Are you okay? She asks softly, her voice almost too gentle. There's a tremor beneath her words, like she's afraid of her own question. You want to trust her, but your gut twists, because Mara, or Mira, doesn't seem to remember the same things you do. She insists the files you found don't exist, that the live stream never happened, that Eli Marlowe never vanished. But then why does her phone have a recording? A distorted voice whispering that name you can't forget, flickering in and out, like a dying light. Every time you try to pin down what's real, it slips further from your grasp. There are missing chunks in your memory, days you can't account for, conversations erased as if they never occurred. You find a notebook you don't remember writing in, filled with scribbles and frantic questions you'd never ask yourself. Somewhere in the chaos, a single phrase repeats what they don't want you to remember. You start noticing patterns, strange coincidences that feel too deliberate to be chance. A news report playing in the background references an unsolved mystery about a baby speaking unknown words. But the details don't line up. Names change, dates shift, even the city is different. It's like you're watching a warped version of your own life, edited by unseen hands to hide something terrifying. Is it a breakdown? A psychotic spiral? Or is it the atmosphere of Neptune reaching through the void, twisting your mind like it twists the lives it touches? The line blurs between trauma and the supernatural, until you can't tell if the shadows in your room are your own fears or something else, something watching, waiting to whisper that name again. Mara, or Mira, grows distant, her face occasionally flickering like a broken hologram. You catch her staring into corners no one else sees, muttering words you don't understand. And yet, when you confront her, she denies everything, as if her own memories are slipping through her fingers. You realize the truth might never come from answers. It might come from embracing the silence, the gaps, the fear of the unknown. Because sometimes the real unsolved mystery isn't what happened to Eli or that baby. It's what you don't remember, what they erased, what lurks just beyond the edge of your understanding. And now, as the darkness presses in, as your breath catches in the stillness, you hear it again. That name, whispered not from outside but from within. Was it ever real? Or have you been living inside a story someone else wrote? A story meant to trap you in a truth too dangerous to face. You want to turn away, you want to forget, but you can't, because you're already marked. And the atmosphere of Neptune isn't just out there, it's here, inside you, waiting. You finally think you have it, the key to the entire nightmare, laid bare before you in one chilling revelation. The scattered pieces of your fractured memories, the cryptic recordings, the whispering name that clawed at the edges of your sanity. They all align like constellations in a dark sky. It's there, carved into a faded file tucked away in an archive no one's supposed to access. A hidden truth buried beneath layers of official denials and classified erasures. You hold the file in trembling hands, the words sharp and clear, promising an end to the torment. The atmosphere of Neptune isn't just poisonous gas. It's a veil, a psychic barrier designed to protect us from something far older and more dangerous. That name, the one everyone is too afraid to say aloud, was a warning, a kind of code meant to keep whatever lurks beyond locked away from human minds. They tell you it's just a theory, but it feels like the missing piece you've been chasing through the haze of memory glitches and audio distortions. The mystery uncovered at last. You can almost breathe again. You tell Mara, if that's even her real name, show her the file, and for a moment she looks relieved. You think you're not crazy anymore, that they lied to you, and you finally found the truth they tried to hide. But then, as you turn away from the flickering screen to catch your breath, your eye catches it. A photo tucked in the margins of the file, cracked and yellowed, almost hidden beneath the official stamp of declassified. It's a grainy image of a child, eyes wide with fear, staring into the camera. But something about that face, something familiar, stops your heart. The child looks exactly like you, or rather, like the you remember but can't place. A deep, sickening pulse thrums through your chest as fragmented memories rush to the surface. Memories you never knew you had or had buried so far away you thought they were gone forever. The strange words whispered in the dark as a child, the cold sweat-soaked nights where you felt watched, the silence when you asked about your past and were met with evasive glances and half-truths. The hidden family trauma that was never spoken, of a long-ago disappearance that your parents never explained, a neighbor who vanished without a trace, leaving only rumors and whispered warnings behind. The past collides violently with the present, and you realize the atmosphere of Neptune isn't just a distant cosmic threat. It's a reflection of something that has been inside you all along. A slow, invisible poison seeping into your mind, distorting reality, blurring time. You try to steady yourself, but the feeling of being watched intensifies, wrapping around your consciousness like a suffocating fog. There's a presence, unnamed, unseen, but always there, lurking behind the veil of your everyday life. You can't look directly at it, and you're not sure it wants you to. It's personal, invasive, a force that knows every fear you hide and every secret you refuse to face. It's been here from the beginning, shaping your memories, twisting your perceptions, feeding on the gaps in your mind where the truth should be. The glitch in your memory, the missing days, the contradictory recordings, they aren't failures or accidents. They're defenses, and the moment you think you've uncovered the whole story, that fragile revelation fractures beneath the weight of an unanswerable question. If the child in that photo is you, then what was lost? What was taken? What were you never meant to? Remember? And then the silence shatters. A whisper so faint it almost slips past your awareness, carrying that impossible name again, but now with a cold familiarity that makes you reel. You realize the story you've been following, the one you thought you understood, is not a story at all, but a loop, a carefully crafted trap. Everything you've seen, heard, and believed has to be re-examined. Every detail, every clue, every terrifying moment must be watched again because this time, you see the threads of something darker woven between the lines, something that makes you question if you were ever the witness or just the next character in a story written by a force too patient and too cruel to name. The truth isn't just hidden, it's alive. And it's waiting to rewrite everything you thought you knew. You're not crazy. They lied to you, but maybe, just maybe, the real horror is that you were never meant to find the truth at all. And now, the story is watching you. There are others. You're not alone in this fractured reality, this labyrinth of half-remembered names and whispered truths that shouldn't exist. Somewhere, out there, hidden beneath layers of silence and static, are others like you, silent witnesses tethered by the same invisible thread, their eyes wide open in dreams that bleed together, their fingers tracing the same cryptic symbols etched into the margins of what they thought were private journals, private memories. They are watching, waiting, and slowly weaving a shared consciousness that feels less like coincidence and more like a secret code meant only for those who dare to look beneath the surface. You begin to notice it in the quietest moments. A symbol, a shape almost too subtle to catch, yet unmistakable, flashing on the edge of a screen during a news report, in the flicker of streetlights outside your window, or buried deep inside the fragmented footage you've been piecing together from what the government never released. These symbols are not random. They are a language, a calligraphy written in shadows designed to pull you deeper into the truth you've always sensed but never fully understood. And then there are the messages, half-glimpsed in digital static, hidden beneath layers of noise and distortion. They come through unexpected channels, a brief flash of text in a hacked video feed, an anonymous email with no sender, a scribbled note slipped under a door where no one should know you live. They speak in riddles, warnings carried on a current. You weren't sure you could feel before, but now pulses through your veins like electricity. You were right all along, one reads, chilling in its simplicity. Another, this is only the beginning. The cryptic communication blurs the lines between nightmare and waking, making you question where the boundary lies between your own thoughts and the invasive suggestions planted by a force whose reach extends far beyond the physical. You're beginning to understand that identity itself is not fixed, not safe. Memories can be edited, realities overwritten, and what you remember as you might be just a shadow puppeteer's illusion designed to keep you docile, compliant, or worse, complicit. Amid this storm of fragmented consciousness and cryptic contact, a third perspective emerges like a beacon flickering in a thick fog, an observer who claims to have been watching longer than you, longer than anyone. The voice is rough, raw with exhaustion, but carries an eerie clarity that cuts through the haze. They speak of found footage from 20 years ago, videos buried, deep in government archives, censored and buried under layers of classified seals, that show patterns repeating, people vanishing, whispers caught on tape before the phrase even had meaning. This observer insists the force behind the erasures and rewrites isn't some distant cosmic horror, but a deeply human machinery of control, a network of power so entrenched it manipulates reality itself. Yet paradoxically, the observer is isolated, doubted by those they try to reach, their warnings dismissed as conspiracy or madness. They tell you this is no accident, no random chaos, but a deliberate campaign to fracture minds and rewrite history so thoroughly that truth itself becomes impossible to grasp. You listen because you must, even as every word unspools dread like cold ink staining your skin. The weight of what you're becoming part of presses down like an invisible hand tightening around your throat. It's no longer about a single name, a vanished person, or even the atmospheric terror of Neptune. It's about control, over memories, over identity, over what you believe you can trust. Every symbol you see, every whispered message you decode, every fractured memory recalled, draws you deeper into a world where you are both the hunter and the hunted. The boundaries blur, and you start to realize the audience, the watchers, the readers, the ones who thought they were safe, is part of this too. You are no longer just a witness but a participant, a link in a chain stretching back farther than anyone dares admit. And as the unseen eyes watching from the shadows tighten their grip, as the puzzle stretches infinitely ahead with no clear, and you understand that the story you thought you were following was never yours to control. The narrative shifts beneath your feet, as if reality itself is holding its breath, waiting to see what you'll do next. You were right all along, but knowing that only makes the truth more terrifying. The message pulses again on your screen. Impossible to ignore. They're already inside. There comes a moment sharp and sudden when the question isn't what happened, but why it ever had to happen at all. It presses in on you, not like a revelation carved in stone, but like a shadow folding itself around your heart, whispering that the truth isn't some distant secret to uncover, but a mirror held up to everything you thought you understood. About being human. The air thickens with the weight of 1,000 unspoken regrets, silent confessions tangled in the quiet spaces between memories you never dared to touch. It's here, in this unbearable stillness, that you face the choice you've been running from, whether to let the truth shatter you or to embrace it and find some impossible kind of salvation. You stand at the edge, the walls closing in, the past and present bleeding into one another like ink spilled across fragile parchment. The names, the faces, the symbols, they're not just fragments of some external conspiracy, but reflections of the fractured pieces inside you, the parts of your own soul buried beneath layers of denial and pain. You remember now with a clarity that cuts deeper than any forgotten nightmare. The betrayal, the loss, the moments when you hid from the world to protect the fragile parts of yourself no one else was willing to see. And in that raw, bleeding space, a confession surfaces. Quiet, but undeniable. You were complicit, not in a way that blames, but in a way that understands the weight of survival, the terrible cost of silence. The force you feared, the unnamed, watchful presence, is no longer just an external enemy but something intimate, shadow cast by your own fear, your own desperate need to believe in control when everything was slipping away. It is both the prison and the key, a paradox that terrifies because it is deeply human. To face it is to confront the fragility of identity itself, to understand that memory, reality, and self are threads woven together so tightly that to pull one loose risks unraveling everything. And yet within that terrifying awakening lies a flicker of hope, because this isn't the end, but a beginning, a moment when you can choose to step beyond the nightmare, to accept the fractured truth of your existence and the mysteries that will never fully unravel. You realize that some truths, no matter how dark, are what keep you human. They are what give meaning to the chaos, what remind you that beneath the silence and the fear, there is still a heart beating, wild, fragile, and defiant. As the weight of this revelation settles, you feel the dream you've been trapped in begin to dissolve, the fog lifting just enough for you to glimpse the world anew. But the edges remain blurred, the shadows still twitching at the periphery. You are awake now, but the question lingers. How much of what you saw was real, and how much was a reflection of what you needed to see? And in that fragile space between knowing and unknowing, you whisper to yourself, or perhaps to the watchers, who have been with you all along. Some truths don't want to be found. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for stories you were never meant to hear. Until next time, remember, some truths don't want to be found.